Well, I jumped the gun there a little bit. Got it started just a little fast before the countdown. It's just not easy being me. That's the problem. Well, hello everyone. Cherry Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks Man Cave. And got a couple things of interest for you, I think. First thing is I put a link just now in the description of this video to Sierra Hull and Molly Tuttle performing together. It's a fairly recent clip. It was made this month, and you may not have seen it because of that. There's lots of clips of Sierra and Molly out there individually. I'm sure they've played together lots in the past, but anyway, this one is them playing together. They do two songs, and all I can say is perfection. I mean, it was really good. So anyway, there is a link in the description. You can watch that later. I think you might enjoy that. And well, the only caveat I should say about that is if you're one of my students learn with the lessons that we're going to have this evening, you might get a little depressed because Sierra is so crazy good on that mandolin. If I practiced every day for 1,000 years, I'd never get like she is. Golly, it's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. Yesterday and today, I've been working on video stuff for both the Vevor impact sockets that they sent me and the Arc Captain Welder. And I do have a little clip here about the Arc Captain Welder that I'm going to show you. I am absolutely impressed with this little welder. I mean, this thing is about the size of a loaf of bread. It's really small. And it welds just like a big boy. It's unbelievable. I figured it'd just be a lightweight little thing that you could weld little light stuff, and so I welded up this little trailer hitch that was broken. That was the first thing I welded. And then I thought, that thing did so good on that. I think I'm going to try it on some more stuff. So I brought in my brush hog. Now, my brush hog was busted all over the place. I mean, it had more cracks than Carter's got liver pills. And so anyway, I started welding with that. And I didn't actually film the welding of that, but here's the result of it. Well, my friends, some product reviews make you happier than others. I got to tell you right now, this one makes me real happy. This is a great little welder. For as small as it is, for as tiny as it is, it does stick and wire feed. It says it does lift TIG, but honestly I don't think it does because there's no gas port on it, and it didn't come with the TIG leads, but it says it does it, so I don't know. That part, forget that part. Just wire feed and arc welding alone. Oh my gosh, look at everything I've welded. I welded all of this, all of this, all of that, back in there a little bit, all that, this great big seam all the way here, all the way here, a little bit there, and then I took these off and welded all the way around this area here, and the same on that side there. So that little sucker actually welds. I never turned it up past 90. If I turned it up past 90, it was too hot, and it'll go up to 145. I'm amazed, absolutely amazed. If you're in the market for a little welder, you can't do any better than this. And I'm not exaggerating. At 90 or above, it would burn through that steel housing on that brush hog. Yeah, that just blew me away. I mean, it would just burn a hole right through it. I just could not believe how good that thing did. It's so little and it's so light. It's littler than it looked like in that picture, really. I mean, it's really small. It's about, I'm going to just say it's about a foot, maybe 14 inches long, and maybe 10 inches high, if that. I don't even think it's that high. It's probably about that. It's tiny. And it's just amazing. You can plug it in anywhere and weld with the darn thing. I just thought, it'll be okay. I didn't really expect it to be great, but I actually like it. I was actually going to just do the review, do the video, and then just give it away. Now I'm thinking I'm going to keep it. It's so handy. It's so little and light. You can carry it anywhere and weld anywhere with it. Which could be very handy here on the farm. I mean, I can do that with my Harbor Freight, but it's quite a bit bigger, and it has the 110 option, and I can plug it in pretty much anywhere also, and it works pretty good that way. But this one is killer. I seriously telling you, if you've ever wanted a welder, once I get the links up for this one, and it'll be up in the next day or two, this is the one to go get. I'm seriously telling you. I mean, I'm not saying if you were going to weld all day, every day. That's not the kind of welder it is. Like if you're a professional or something. It's not for that. But if you're just, welding out of your garage and, you just occasionally need to fix something that breaks, for sure, this thing will do what you need to do. I think that's everything I was going to cover today. So let's move into the comments. David Tharp was the number one guy that I saw. Joe Nigan. Joe, I got to ask you, though. It says, good afternoon, everyone, and Jerry. Now, that bothers me. Am I not included? Am I not in the human race? I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if you don't think of me that way. Dottie's praying for us. Thank you, Dottie. And moving on down, let's see. David Tharp, there's an ancient legend that says, if you cannot sleep at night, it's because you are awake. Yeah, I've had that issue. Wavy Gravy, my doctor said, you'll live to be 74. I said, but I am 74. And he said, see, what did I tell you? Let's see. Kenneth Ennis. Jerry, thanks for sharing your program with us. I look forward to each day seeing what you have for us. I appreciate your complete honesty. God bless. Well, thank you, Kenneth. I know Kenneth's in Canada, I believe. At least that's what I remember. I don't think I have Alzheimer's yet. I can kind of remember some things. Don't ask me to remember names, though. I can remember them if I see them here. But I still, to this day, on stage, introducing my band, still the hardest thing I do. And the other day we played that live show at the church, and it was Don's church, and for whatever reason I couldn't think of his name. I'm going like, I want to say David, and I know it isn't David. But his name's Don Davis, and so I was, it's just pitiful. It's just pitiful. It's so embarrassing that it's just terrible. David Tharp, farming will always have detractors and the cows and the horses and the chickens. Detractors? Yep. Let's see. Well, my detractors need a lot of work. Every one of them needs something. Wavy Gravy. My neighbor told me he knew his marriage was off to a bad start. His wife has multiple personalities, and he's always been bad with names. That falls right in line with me. Let's see. Moving on down, looking for the question marks here. Ben's talking about a 350-pound pull and built-in crank that's pretty much effortless, 416 feet per second. That must be a crossbow. Must be what he's talking about there. I recognize numbers like that, and the crank built in, so it's got to be a crossbow. David Tharp, my doctor said he thought my sugar was too high, so I went home and put it on the bottom shelf. Wavy gravy. A man walks into a psychiatrist's office. Doctor, what do you do for a living? Man, I'm an auto mechanic. Doctor, get under the couch. Larry Fisher. Jerry, YouTuber watch Westwork. Yeah, I watch him all the time. Compared a drill doctor to a Vevor bit sharpener and says the Vevor is hands down better. Yeah, I don't doubt that at all. I am not real impressed with drill doctors. I got to be honest with you. I know lots and lots and lots of people swear by them. But I've got, I bought a fairly good one. I didn't buy the cheapest one. And all I ever use it for anymore is just to center the drill back up. It doesn't sharpen them, in my opinion, the way I can sharpen them by hand. I can sharpen them by hand way better than that drill doctor can, at least the one I have. And I saw the YouTube shop teacher, and I can't think of his name right now either. So bad. I know he goes by the YouTube shop teacher. And I know his name as good as I know my name. I just can't think of it. Well, anyway, he did a review on the Vevor drill sharpener. I think he got it to review, and he loved it. Yeah, so anyway, I know it must be good. As a fact, I was hoping that might be my next thing I get from Vevor, if I get anything else from them. I mean, I don't know if I will. Let's see. Gary Hayden. Jerry, what's the model number of the Ark Captain? It is a 145. Now, the book says MiG 145 Pro. You see it right there, MiG 145 Pro. And I assume that the Pro model comes with the TIG torch and all that. Mine did not come with the TIG torch. There's no ports on the actual machine on my machine for gas. And you have to have gas to TIG weld. And the only thing I could think of is maybe there's a special torch that you can run the gas straight into the torch. I don't know. But anyway, it talks about the TIG welding in this book here, and my machine actually has a setting for TIG, which is weird because it doesn't have a port for the gas, which I don't know. But anyway, I really like it. For even if you forget the TIG, for arc welding and for wire feed welding, yeah, you can't do any better. I mean, you can spend a whole lot more money and get a better machine. There's no doubt about it. But for what it is, and like I said, if you're just a weekend warrior kind of welder, kind of like I am, I don't weld every day. Shoot, it ought to handle anything you run into, I think. Now, I will tell you, when I was welding that brush hog, when I was doing some of those really big welds, if I kept it going for a long time, I did throw a couple of breakers. But if I only welded, say, like 3 inches at a time, something like that, 4 inches at a time, it didn't throw any breakers. But if I did try to keep going, it eventually would throw a breaker. Now, that's just on a regular plug-in, a regular wall plug-in, 20-amp breaker. So just being totally clear and honest with you about it, but I do really like it. I seriously do. I was seriously thinking I'll just, review it and give it away to somebody, one of my friends or, one of my daughters or my son or somebody. And now I don't know if I want to give it away. It's so handy because it's so small. You can just pick it up and move it wherever you want to. Ben Boyd, best reviewed product, new lift desk or new welder? I'm betting the desk. Well, I really like this desk too. There is no doubt about it. Actually, it's really hard to compare all of the things. There's a bunch of things I got that are just killer. I mean, that laser cutter that I got, that Creality Falcon 2 laser cutter. Man, it's just really fine. And so is this desk, and so is that welder. And that welder, if you're talking about, I don't know. I can't hardly think it's even on the same scale in one way of these other two things. In one way, but on the other way, the darn thing does way better than I thought it would do. So from that perspective, from a functionality perspective, it's definitely on the same level. Anyway, very good. I'm very lucky to get those things. The Outboard Tinkerer. Hi, Jerry. The same way introducing people, even know well to others. Yeah. I don't know why that is. I look you right in the face and I can't say your name for nothing, even if I know it as good as I know my own name. It's so dumb. Steve Mays, just a friendly reminder, mandolin lesson tonight. Yes, we're going to do that this evening. And what my plan is right now is I'm planning, I think what we're going to do, I'm going to break it into 2 different nights of just singing songs and playing songs, of course. And I think tonight we're going to use position 1. So that's the bottom 2 strings. And we're going to, go up and down those bottom 2 strings with 1, 4, 5 chords. And pretty much wear the bottom 2 strings 1, 4, 5 pattern out. Then next week we'll do the same thing, except we'll move up to the middle 2 strings and go up and down the fretboard with the middle 2 strings on the 1, 4, 5 also. And that's kind of, I think that'll make the most sense, that you've only got 2 patterns literally to learn, 2 chord patterns. And anyway, I think that's the best way to go about it, I think. If anybody has anything else you want me to talk about this evening, be sure to, say it. Ronald Todd says, thumbs up, everybody. Please do that. It looks much brighter outside there today. How do you know? Oh, you can see out that window. Well, it is a little brighter today, but actually it's still a little overcast. I was wondering how you could tell. That's a long way over there. Let's see. I've lost my place. Ben Boyd, I'm replacing the stock tailpiece on my mandolin with a James, but I have to drill a larger hole in the James to accept the electric plug. Any trick to that? No, not really. I don't. I've never had to do that specifically on a tailpiece. But when you're trying to drill out a hole like that, now I'm gonna be talking out of both sides of my mouth here, because it doesn't work for me. It doesn't. But the recommended way to make a hole larger like that in a thin piece of metal is the step drill. Those drills that have the steps on them, like you go through, because it'll do a nice clean hole. It won't grab and jerk the part and all that like a regular drill bit can really jack up the whole process. So the step drill, if you can get one of those, and if it'll work for you, that's your way to go. Step drills just don't work for me. I'm serious. I can't get them to work. I've bought several different kinds, and they just don't work for me. I don't know why. I watch everybody else on the planet do it, and it works for them. Same thing with those stupid those round saw bits that I see people sawing through. I've seen them saw through half-inch steel with those things. I can't get them to drill a hole through a wash tub, a thin kind of metal like that. I can't do it. I don't know why, but I can't. I've tried and tried and tried and tried and tried, and I can't get it to work. So, but everybody else can. So that's why I say I have to talk out of both sides of my mouth here. I'm telling you to do something that I can't do. It doesn't work for me. But it really would be the best way to drill that hole in your tailpiece would be with a step drill, because it won't grab it and jerk it around and, cause a problem. There you go. I don't know. It's just weird. Certain things just don't work for me. I don't know why. Let's see. Garland Edmondson, when it comes to welders, the duty cycle not to exceed the otherwise fine. Yeah, well, this one, believe it or not, that little bitty thing has a 60% duty cycle. That's pretty darn high. A lot of them will have a 30 or 40% duty cycle. A 60% duty cycle, that's pretty darn high if you ask me. Ronald Todd, the back room window, yeah. Actually, that's actually a front room window. In fact, that window's the closest window to the front door, but the front door is actually, it's backwards. So that wall that you can see through there, on the other side of that wall is the entry foyer and the front door. Just to give you your bearings in case you wanting to know. Let's see. I think I lost something here. Okay. Bill Rhodes, have you ever thought to metal detect in the creek? Yeah, the problem with our creek is, Bill, that it used to meander down the valley, and the bulldozers straightened it all out and put it over on that one side. So, yeah, they did that in the 40s. Now, stuff could have been lost since then, but it's not even really a good creek to look for native artifacts. I mean, like, there probably would have been tons of native artifacts in the creek, Native American artifacts, but because they did all of that dozing back in the 40s, I mean, they completely dozed this whole farm, and they made terraces along the hills, and they straightened the creek out down where the creek is. It's not a perfectly straight line, but they moved it all the way over to facing down the valley. They moved it all the way over to the right as far as they could. So it still wobbles a little bit, but it's not like it used to. You can tell it used to meander through the whole valley like this, and it doesn't do that anymore. And because of that, it's not even where it used to be, So back like during the Civil War, there probably would have been Civil War artifacts in the original creek bed area if you could find where that is. But yeah, it's all messed up because of that. It's really a sad deal that happened. Doggone it, because it's such a historic piece of ground, Let's see. Red Jensen, Ben Boyd, maybe use a Dremel tool. Yeah, a Dremel tool would be another good option. A grinder, a little tiny die grinder type deal to grind the hole out bigger would also be a safe way to do it, where you won't catch and cause a problem. Take a little longer, and by the fact that you're grinding it by hand, the hole might not be perfect, but if you look at it good and get it as centered and round as you can, it'll be fine, But a grinder would be a good way to do it. Yeah, Dottie says, Ben, I'd use a Dremel tool. Well, you could. If you do use a Dremel tool, you almost certainly have to use a grinder attachment. because almost nothing else is going to have enough power to drill through that tailpiece. Those tailpieces are fairly stout. I think they're brass, though, now that I think about it. So honestly, it's such a thin brass that the step drill should drill it real easy, actually. And that honestly is your safest way to do it, I think, if you want to make a perfect hole. Ben, if you do use a step drill, maybe mount the tailpiece on some wood to stop the distortion. Yeah, you could, hold it on a block of wood or something, or, I would, if it were me, and if you had a drill press, I would use the step drill in a drill press would be the best way to do it, and then still have it on a block of wood and then come down into it. But either way, it should work for you. And, if you don't have a step drill, because they're fairly expensive, then the Dremel with the grinder would probably be your safest bet. The only thing was grinding on brass, sometimes it'll gum up the wheels and things. But it'd probably be fine for no more than you're going to need to do, I would think. Anyway, that's probably brought us down here to the end, and I don't see anything else going on. It's about 1:30. I may just call it good there. I would like to remind you that we will have the lesson at 7 o'clock this evening, so be sure to come back for that. I would appreciate it very much, and we'll see you then.